All right, good day, folks. I hope everybody's having a great day. And I'm out here today on our porch. It's almost noon, and been trying to rework these baskets or these tubs out here that the collards were in, and got a little muddy, and you know, that's just our new life. We're learning to cope with mud now. So anyway, but so I've done had my shower for the day and got cleaned up. But anyway, I hope you're having a great day, and I'm gonna try something maybe new. Uh, See kind of what kind of feedback I get from it. Got a lot of good response on the something different that we did last week, and it was dealing with prayer for our country and our nation and our leaders, things of that nature. And I'm thinking about doing that. Maybe doing it on a Wednesday or something like that. I'll have a certain day and a certain time that it'll come out, and it's just something I'm praying about. So you give me some feedback. Let me know how you feel about it, and we may see about doing that in the days ahead. But before I get into my subject today, I do want to thank each one of you for subscribing, all the nice comments that I get on my channel. I appreciate everything you've done, and I appreciate the outpouring of support that we had in the giveaway for 1,000 subscribers. And at this time, as I'm recording this, I don't know who the winner is. So Lord willing, we're going to know that this evening. But while this is being recorded, this is probably going out a week late, so you understand how all that works. So anyway, I do want to appreciate, I would say I appreciate the support that we got in that, and so we look forward to doing another giveaway, hopefully in the future. But I thank each one of you for subscribing, and if you are not a subscriber to the channel here, I strongly invite you to do so. If this is the kind of content that you like, we do gardening, we work with our tractors, and I love to work on my tractor when it's improving it, not when it breaks down. But thankfully, we know how to do a few things to it when it breaks down. So, but that's what this channel's pretty much about. And we're going into the winter months now. We'll be using our tractor some, and I'll give you a little teaser. Uh, I might, if I can figure out how to do this, I might slip a picture in here of something that we'll introduce you to later on in the winter. It may be after the first of the year before I get this piece of equipment out. But let me see if I can stick a picture in here. Okay, I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll hopefully I got it in there. But anyway, um, that'll be a piece of equipment that hopefully we can try out, and I'll say more about that. But that's just a little teaser for you. But anyway, I do want to say I appreciate each one of you, and I appreciate you liking and subscribing, uh, or liking my videos, subscribing. I appreciate all that. So, and another thing before I get into the video, most of you may know, most of you, some of you don't, my wife does work. She works full-time job, and that hinders her from being active on this channel. And another thing, she's kind of like camera shy. So I don't want nobody to get the wrong impression. She kind of freezes up when she gets in front of this camera. So she don't mind being behind it, and but she gets kind of nervous when she gets in front of it. And not to say that I don't, I do. It's getting a little better, but I still get nervous because I stutter, seem like more, and you have to think about what you're saying. And a word spoken is something that you can't get back. Now, if I catch it, I can stop it before it goes out to public. So that's the good thing about this. But anyway, just a little quick thing about that. And another thing, I've had a cough since I've had this past sickness. I don't know what it was. I've had a cough. And so if I get a coughing spell, I'll probably just shut the camera off till I get over it and we'll go back in it. But I apologize for that. My voice has a raspy sound to it, and I wished I could get over this, but I mean, I feel okay. It's just the congestion that I have to deal with right here. And so anyway, I just thought I'd say a little something about that. But we're going to get right on into the video. And I got my coffee out here. It's a perfect day. It's in the low to mid 70s, so it's a good day to be out here with our cup of coffee. So if you're where you can and you like coffee, go ahead and pour you a cup. Just pause this video, get you a cup of coffee, and set a spell with me. But we're going to talk today. I want to talk to you just real quickly. Try not to be too long. But we're going to talk today about an LCE. And you might say, well, what in the world is an LCE? Well, it's the initials for life-changing event. And everybody probably that's got any age on them has had a life-changing event in their life at some point in time. And I've had a few, not as many, nowhere near as many as other people. But I don't want to talk about all of mine today. I do want to talk about one in particular. And it happened about 11 years ago. And I found myself without a job, unemployed, no government assistance whatsoever. And there I was. And it was pretty much at the beginning of 2009. And I'm not going to go into the why it was there. It was, I'll take the blame for it. And I was actually self-employed. So, you know, the work that I was in, I pretty much caused the collapse. I'll just take the blame for it. But I'm not going to go there, the why, the who's. I may do a video on that someday, but that's not for now. But I do want to say this. I found ourselves as a family in a position with no home, no income, and pretty much there we were. And because I had moved out of town and we had our home here that I'm at right now, we had it rented out. So that was a wise choice that I actually took some counsel on, and that was a recommendation not to sell my property, but to rent it out if I could. And that's what we did, and I actually was leaning in that direction anyway, but you know, that was a good thing. So folks, when you make big decisions in your life, always put a lot of thought and prayer into those decisions. Don't just hastily do something. When I'm working on something, working on a piece of equipment or whatever it is, and I'm hasty with it, 9 times out of 10, that's when I'm going to break something and really be in a mess. So I've learned over the years, not learned it good enough yet, but I've learned to slow down, take your time, and if it means putting a cover over it, walking away from it for a few days, that's what it means. And it's just like that car that we rebuilt or built the hitch on. I put a lot of thought into that before I started on it. Now, I started on that project back in the early summer, but I knew what there was a lot went behind that y'all did not see. My dad had that old bush hog that I took the hitch off of. That was a circus. I wished I could have had that on camera. But I had to go drag that thing out of a pine thicket and pull it up there and I just pretty much drug it with a boom pole. But we got it, got the hitch off. I had to take the torch to get the bolts broke loose on it. I was going to try to take it off in the woods, but that wasn't happening. So I got the hitch off, and there it was, just a shell of a bush hog that I had to get back down there and get it out of the way. So I took the boom pole and I finangled it in between a bunch of trees, and we got it back in there. So, but Daddy's got some scrap metal now if he needs it. I told him, I said, the best thing to do is take a torch, cut it up in pieces when you get ready to haul it out. But anyway, you think about things before you do it. A project. The Bible even talks about a man, I can't remember the exact words, but he talks about a man don't build a house without first he sits down and figures up what and all it's going to cost him to find out if he has the equipment, that he has the materials to build it. And that's just a lot of thinking. So if you think things through in your life, it will make an LCE much better to go through. An LCE can happen to anybody. Matter of fact, I will say it will happen to most people. And you'll have an event in your life, whether it be the loss of a loved one, it could be a major health breakdown where you have your health to suddenly change and you never gain your strength, your health back again. It can be that, it can be the loss of a job. Matter of fact, I'm going through that as we speak now. And I'm having to adapt to a different lifestyle. But I want to say this, it's a lifestyle that I love. It's working with my hands, doing my thing, growing my own food. I love that. And I'm having to adapt to that in the middle of the confusion and chaos that we're going on here. But that is a story that's unfolding. I'm not talking about that today. But getting back to the LCE that I went through back in 2009, and if you know anything about our history during that time, we just elected a new president. Our country was in the middle of one of the worst recessions we'd seen in years, and a job could not be bought. Now that is the exact truth. So there I was with nothing. So what I did, and I was going through some things myself, and I hope, Lord willing, I'll make a video on that too, but my wife was not, during that time, our kids were small, and my wife was not working a public job. She was working here at home. She was raising our children. She was cooking, cleaning, canning, housekeeping, and she also homeschooled our children in the process. So she had a full-time job here at home. And I'll never forget a lady that we've known for several years. I met her in the store somewhere, and she was asking about us and how we were doing, and she wanted to know how my wife was doing. I said, she's doing great. I said, she quit work and came home, so she's not working at public work now. That's what she said. And that changed my way of thinking on that. And I said, yeah, you're right, she's working at home. And she did. My wife's not got one lazy streak in her body whatsoever. That woman works hard. And she cares a lot for the ways of her household, as Solomon talked about a virtuous woman. But anyway, there I was. I didn't know what to do, and I had, during that time, that Walker mower that I put a video about that on here. I had it. I had my chainsaw, and we got my tractor. Me and my father-in-law, we got a trailer, and we hauled it down to my parents. My parents was gracious enough, they let us stay with them till we could, figure out what we were going to do and get on our feet. And so we stayed with my parents for probably maybe a month and a half, 2 months, I don't remember exactly. That is longer than that, it might have been about 3 months. But anyway, so I had all my tools, my equipment, pretty much we got all of it there. And I had some kin people that was getting on up in years, needed a lot of help. And thankfully, doors started opening, and I cut wood. I got out in the woods, I sawed up wood and hauled it to them. I split wood, and so they would have firewood. And then after that, we I had a guy that I went to school with. He doing a job called flipping houses, where he went around. He would buy places and remodel them, restore them, put them back on the market for sale. And he put me to work. We I did a lot of electrical work for him. That's another trade that I have. I don't do as much of it as I used to, but it's something I know how to do. And I helped him with that. I done some floor covering for him, and other things as well. And in the midst of all that, God managed to take care of us. God managed to keep a roof over our head, to keep food on our table. And but I want to say this too. Prior to this happening, a lot is said about prepping and being prepared. Folks, we had put up a lot of food. We had canned a lot of food. I had killed a deer that fall, so we had deer meat. We had all kinds of vegetables put away in our freezer. We had tons of canned stuff. So far as food, we did not lack nothing. And I am thankful that we did that. Now, that following summer, that just gave me the more of a drive to go in and plant more. We had a big garden that following summer. Like I say, I wasn't working nowhere, so I had the time to do it. I had a big field of corn, and my aunt, the people that I'd done some work for, she let me use her field. And my brother has chicken houses, and so I went and shoveled chicken manure out and spread it over that field so I wouldn't have to buy fertilizer. And man, I had a ton of corn that year. And I took my tractor that summer, went and loaded up all my corn in the trailer and took it out there and set up on the side of the highway, and come home with a pocket full of money and give it to my wife. And I told her, I said, well, here's some more money. And I mowed yards during that summer. The doors open there, and we mowed yards. We done all kinds of things. But that leads me to this, and I want to take it down to another personal level. There's all kinds of things we can do in our life. And another door came open during that time. My brother, thankfully, had just built a new home, and his mobile home was going to be vacant, and he wanted someone to stay there and help him look after his chicken houses. He had 4 chicken houses. I think they're about 1,000 feet long, 500 or 1,000. I can't remember. Maybe it's 500 feet long. I don't remember, folks, to be honest with you. They're big. I know. There's about 80-some thousand chickens all together between the 4 houses. So I helped him with that as best I could, and so that provided us a place to live, and we lived there for a little, probably around 5 years, something like that. And I'm gonna tell you, that took I left part of me down there in them chicken houses. Just put it like that. But that's work. I'm gonna tell you, if you've never worked in a chicken house, you don't have a clue. That's work. It's nasty work. But anyway, we managed to do it. And but to bring this down to where I wanted to get to a more personal level, everybody, I believe, if they'll search and look, everybody has a talent that is exclusive to you as an individual. I have a couple of things. Actually, I probably got more, but two things that sticks out in particular, and I never knew till just recently how important they are. And I consider them arts versus, or talents versus just something to do. And they're actually worth something. And I didn't realize it to begin with, how much they are worth. But I've shared this, we make sauerkraut. And that is an item, a quart of homemade sauerkraut is something that I could barter with in the event times get hard. And I never really thought about that till right here, sitting right here. Our neighbor was talking to us here about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they was talking about my sauerkraut, and they said, you could make some money off of that. Well, I'm not about making money, but I got to thinking, that's something that I could barter with, and as a matter of fact, I have used it to barter with. I had some work done on a computer years ago, and I didn't have no money to pay the guy that worked on it. Of course, he really didn't ask for anything, but I told him what needed to be done, or what it was doing. He said he could fix it. And I said, well, I don't have no money, but I said, would you take a case of homemade sauerkraut? He said, you doggone right I would. So that's how I paid for getting my computer work done. And so it's little things like that. Dill pickles is another one. And I grow my own dill, I grow my own cucumbers, I grow my own garlic. And the other thing goes in there would be the mustard seed. And I've been thinking about that. And I've got to do more research into knowing about mustard seed and things like that. I want to learn more about that because I would love to try to make our own mustard. Now, we did a video back in the summer making ketchup. I would love to learn to make my own mustard. So that's just a few things that we're looking at doing. But folks, don't let an LCE destroy your life. And I'll take that to the Bible. Or no, Romans chapter 8, 8:28. For this we know, that all things, that's good, bad, ugly, indifferent, terrible, you name it, all things, work together for the good to them who are the called according to his purpose. And so there's a lot preached. There's a lot of messages been preached out of that verse. So folks, just remember that. And it's what we let these times do to us. I don't want to sound carnal here, and I don't watch a lot of TV anymore. When I say that, I don't watch a lot of what's on the networks now. It's just silly. We even had our cable cut off just to save us some money because we weren't watching it, so it was just money thrown in the trash can. And so, you know, we just save the money. Now all we have is just the internet. But I do like some of the older programs that had some wisdom about them, a little bit of morals about them. But I like to watch the Waltons. And I remember the episode of the Easter story. It was in season 1, where the mother on there comes down with polio. And John Boy, if you remember, he has a tough time dealing with that. And of course I would too, if it was my wife or my mother or my dad or my children or whoever it may be. If I had to deal with that would be tough. But I remember there's a scene where John Boy takes off running to the woods, and he runs up to the very top of the mountain and look down and see it. And I remember his dad takes off after him. And that scene just reminds me so much of myself being John Boy. And the dad reminded me so much of my dad. And one thing he said, good times and bad times comes to all people. But it's what we let these times do to us as individuals. The devil means it for bad, folks, without a doubt. But God can take a bad situation and he can turn it around and make a total miracle out of it. So I don't know what you're facing today in your life. Well, it could be a divorce. Thankfully, me and my wife have never went through that. We don't know what that is. And not crowing by no means, because it's been God that's kept us together. So it could be something as that. And you know, whatever your LCE may be, God is still in charge and God is still in control. And I promise you, if you will take it one day at a time, you come out of it and you'll be a stronger person if you'll let him lead you in your life. I hope and pray that I've said something that's been a help today, and mainly wanted to just share some of my story and what we went through, what we did. And I hope and pray that it'll be a help to you and it'll encourage you. That's what this is all about. And so, folks, till the next time, thank you from Little North Carolina Farmer. Have a great day.